Yep, absolutely. Appreciate everybody coming out. Game week, finally. Been a long time coming. A ton of excitement and energy in this facility right now. We had our normal Tuesday morning 8 a.m. team meeting, and everyone was in here early and ready to roll. And then went out there and had a fantastic Tuesday practice, all three phases, which was really fantastic and awesome to see. So excited for our players, for the opportunity to go out and play in Williams-Brice Stadium this week. So excited for our fans to be able to be back in Williams-Brice Stadium. Never will I ever, not that I did before, but I will never take college football for granted and what makes it special. The bands, the cheerleaders, the pageantry, everything that's so special about college athletics and college football, we all missed last year and couldn't be more excited about going back into a packed Williams-Brice Stadium this Saturday. Fired up for our fans to be able to come back together because I know they've missed it. Our players have missed it. It's going to be an amazing environment in Williams-Brice Stadium on Saturday night, starting with the Gamecock Walk. Glad that's going to be back this year, so I would hope that is the biggest and best one ever to welcome our football team to the stadium when they arrive on Saturday evening. We've missed our fans, and that's a great opportunity for our fan base to show our football players how much you've missed them as well. Would hope everybody would be in their seats early and create an awesome environment. I know it'll be cranked up during the game. I hope it's going to be a great environment pregame as well. I know I can count on the cockpit in Williams-Brice Stadium Saturday night. I know they will bring it and fire it up to see those guys at it. And we've got a great group of recruits that'll be here as well for the game on Saturday night as well. One young man coming in on an official visit, so we need to put on a great show for them as well. Can't wait to get going. From an injury standpoint, Trey Atkins and Wyatt Campbell both practiced today. They should be fine for Saturday night, which is really good to see. Luke was out there. Didn't really do much. Doubt he's going to be 100% Saturday night, but he was out there at practice. Hank Manos is probably doubtful for Saturday night. Don't know if he's quite going to be ready to make it back. And then Rick Sandage is the one that'll definitely be out for Saturday, but hope to get him back soon. Fired up about playing Eastern Illinois this weekend. It's funny, my dad's very last game as the head coach at Murray State University. I was in fourth grade, and it was against Eastern Illinois, at Eastern Illinois in what was then the 1AA, but now called the FCS. The FCS playoffs, the Murray State Racers went up to Eastern Illinois and lost to them in a playoff game, quarterbacked by Sean Payton, our current head coach for the New Orleans Saints. So pretty ironic that his last game before he took the head coaching job at Virginia Tech was against Eastern Illinois, and my first game as the head coach is against Eastern Illinois here at South Carolina. Really looking forward to seeing Bill Roth. He will be the play-by-play announcer for ESPN on Saturday night. He was the longtime voice of the Hokies at Virginia Tech, came into Virginia Tech in 1988, my dad's second year as head coach, and was the radio play-by-play guy for pretty much my dad's entire career. So it'll be pretty cool to see Bill, who essentially watched me grow up from the age of 11 until I came back to Virginia Tech to coach. Excited to see him. Obviously, they lost Saturday night. Got an impressive group, though. I mean, they did not play their best, certainly the first three quarters, talking about Eastern Illinois. They've got an impressive group of transfers that have come in. There are some significant playmakers for them. If you look at their game the other night, had 3 turnovers, one of which was in the red zone going in to score. They had an interception that was returned for a touchdown when it bounced off the running back's hands. Had the ball at the end of the game with a chance to win it. So that's a game I'm sure they look at and feel like they had every opportunity to win it. They got better as the game went on. That was obvious. You look at it in the fourth quarter, Eastern Illinois' offense was out there for 30 plays in the fourth quarter alone, which means they were on pace to run 120 plays that night. Eastern Illinois' defense was on the field for 5 plays in the fourth quarter the other night. So it's certainly a team that got better as the game went on. I see a group on defense that flies around, plays really, really hard, great group, great tacklers. And then offensively, they've got a really, really athletic quarterback that's got experience. There's so many times going back and you watch his video from last year, you watch his video from Saturday night, that he should be sacked. Any other quarterback, it is a sack. And next thing you know, he's getting out of the pocket, scrambling, has his eyes downfield, and he's hitting explosive plays in the pass game. So we've certainly got to do a great job of controlling the line of scrimmage and handling their quarterback and his athleticism. And then they've got some impressive group of running backs that complement each other well. They all have different styles, and we got to do a great job of tackling them as well. But excited for the opportunity to go play. It's our first opponent, and we talk to our team always. It's about us, no matter who we're playing. We started that off today with a great practice on Tuesday and expect that to continue for the rest of the week. So I know, obviously, the topic of conversation, what everyone is here today and wants to talk about is our uniforms. And what we're credit Fink on that one. He actually mentioned doing that. So very good, Fink. Is our uniforms. We're going to wear white helmets, garnet jerseys, and white pants on Saturday night. So there is your uniform reveal for the week. We are very thankful that Under Armour takes great care of us and gives us a lot of uniform options and combinations. But we're not going to get into every single week spending time and wasting a whole lot of time as a team trying to figure out what we're wearing on Saturdays. Let's worry about how we play, not what we're wearing. And I've told the players that, and they're on board. Does not mean we won't mix it up from time to time, but let's worry about preparing ourselves to play the very best in the 10, 15 minutes that they spent last year and in previous years figuring out what they're wearing. That could have been spent preparing for the opponent and getting themselves ready to play. So we'll certainly mix it up. Our players will have a say in what they're wearing. I'll certainly listen to them if there's options that they want to have, but we're not going to come out there wearing a different uniform for the next 12 weeks. I can assure you that. In all seriousness, we named Zeb Noland our starting quarterback for this week. He's a guy, obviously he has Power 5 experience. It wasn't that long ago. He played in a playoff game a few months ago. He is very efficient, getting us in and out of the huddle, commanding the offense, controlling what's going on out there. He has a great understanding of what we're doing offensively because he spent the entire summer, as I know he told you guys, drawing up the playbook and coaching. So we've got a lot of confidence in Zeb being able to go out there and operate at a high level on Saturday night. We're not asking him to go win the football game. We'll never ask our quarterbacks to do that. We want to ask him to get us in and out of the huddle cleanly and efficiently without pre-snap penalties. Let's hand the ball to our running backs. Let's get the ball to our playmakers on offense at wide receiver, tight end, and running back. Offensive line, let's do a great job of running the football and protecting the quarterback, and let's go play. So we're not asking Zeb to go win the game on Saturday night. We're asking him to operate the offense efficiently, and we feel like he does the best job of that right now from an offensive standpoint. We have a ton of confidence in all of our quarterbacks, no matter who's out there. Colton, Connor, Jason, or Luke, if he were to able to really come along in the next few days and be 100%. And having said that, I told Luke this morning and telling you guys now, I'm never going to put a player out there when he's not ready to play. If Luke's not 100%, it's not worth it. No matter who we're playing, I want him to be out there and be at his best, where he can do what he does best and protect his health as well. But got confidence in all those quarterbacks. Whoever is out there on Saturday night, we have no issues. We run our offense the same way, but felt like Zeb was a little bit farther along, and that's why we made that decision. But again, let's not – I know what the narrative may be out there, so let's forget about and lose the narrative of he hasn't played a football game in 2 or 3 years, and he was walking up and down the halls like Uncle Rico talking about what he did back in the day as a quarterback. He played quarterback a couple months ago. He's been 3 months ago. He's been a graduate assistant coach since June. So like I told you guys when we activated him to our roster, he's played in a college football game a hell of a lot more recently than anyone on our team. Is it a little bit unique? Yes, but it wasn't, like I said, that he played a couple years ago. He played a few months ago. He's been a coach for basically 2 months as a graduate assistant when he was heavily involved working with the players and things like that also. So got a lot of confidence in him, got a lot of confidence in the rest of the quarterbacks, and fired up for Saturday night. We'll worry about trying to beat Eastern Illinois, and then we'll take it from there. So with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Shane, with the quarterback situation, is this a case of once Luke is 100%, the competition will reopen, or will Luke step right in and be starter again?
Yeah, I mean, I know you got to ask that. We're worried about beating Eastern Illinois, and that's all I'm focused on. We just had a great Tuesday practice. Let's go out there and have a great Wednesday practice right now. Let's rally around Zeb and the quarterbacks that are playing Saturday night, and hopefully we can play our best on Saturday night and win this one, and then we'll worry about East Carolina and what's next after that.
Shane, as far as the timeline, I mean, when did you feel like that Zeb really separated himself and was the guy for you guys? I mean, was there a point in or a practice that you guys really felt like this feels like the guy we want to go with week one?
No, I mean, honestly, I think day one when Zeb started playing quarterback, I mean, there was I don't want to say difference, but there was a little bit of a spark, and he came in very. It wasn't like he walked in that huddle the very first day of practice and was overwhelmed and didn't know what to do. He got in there. He called the play. He was able to get up at the line of scrimmage. He was able to change the protection based on where the pressure was coming from, and was really able to operate. I think it was a blitz period we had where we go against our defense. It's all blitzes. It's all third down, and our guys are coming from everywhere. And he went out there and probably had the most impressive blitz period that we had as a team during preseason camp. Not that it had been bad with the other ones, but just knowing where to go with the ball, knowing where he was protected, knowing when to get rid of it. It was just really impressive. So he started that day and then just, stayed consistent. But like I talked about before, from that day, Jason and Colton and Connor, they all got better because of it, after that as well. So I don't know if there was a certain moment. What I told you guys before was true, that we wanted to give Zeb plenty of opportunity with the first group since he hadn't had it until 2 weeks ago or whenever Luke got hurt. We got Jason some work with the first group last week as well. It wasn't like Zeb's been working with the ones for the last 2 weeks. We've been kind of mixing it up, and that's what we did towards the tail end of practice last week. But, that's where we are. And I met with Jason yesterday, met with Zeb yesterday, and, told him what we were doing, and away we go.
Shane, just what was the conversation like with Jason? How did he kind of take it, and what's the plan in terms of how many quarterbacks you want to play on Saturday?
Yeah, Jason was disappointed. He came in my office yesterday. I love Jason. Like, Jason comes in my office probably twice a day just to pop in and say hello and sit down and shoot the bull. And he came in yesterday, and no one has worked harder to put himself in the position that he's in than Jason. I mean, we told him he had to lose weight, and if you were around here this summer, you'd look out there on the practice field, and he'd be out there by himself just running extra, trying to lose weight, doing everything. So much respect for him. That's why I have confidence in him if he's out there on Saturday night. But he was certainly disappointed. I told him, why we're making the decision that we did, that it wasn't an indictment on him. It's just where Zeb is right now, and we need to make sure the guy that's out there that gives us the best chance to win. And for a lot of different reasons, we felt like Zeb was that guy right now. But I told Jason, I think he told you guys well. I mean, I'd love to be able to get him in the game and get him going on Saturday night. Now that's going to depend on how he practices. I've watched before I came in here. I was at practice obviously, but watched about a fourth of the practice tape before I came in here. And as soon as I leave, I'll go back and finish watching practice, and we'll see how he practices Wednesday and Thursday and Friday in our walkthrough. And if he earns the right to play, I'd love to be able to get him in there and get him going early.
Shane, when Jason came in and just spoke a little while ago, I mean, he was very impressive in terms of just how he went about things. Just as your experience as a former player and just obviously as a coach, as an assistant, and now where you are currently, how much can that make a difference on a team, especially younger guys that are coming in and still trying to figure out what college football is all about?
Yeah, I think it's huge. He's a guy, I think, he hasn't been here long, but has the respect of the people, on this team. They see how hard he works, and that's impressive that he did that. I talked to him this morning about it and talking to the media, and then he had the class issue as well, so he had an easy excuse if he didn't want to come in here, and he owned up and came in here, and I think it's fantastic. It really is. I mean, it says what he's about. We talk about in this program, accountability is one of the core values we talk about all the time, and that's being accountable, coming here and answering questions. And he was certainly disappointed, but a lot of people in that situation would have blown you guys off and gone to class and sat around and pouted and things like that. And he came out today and competed, had a great mindset and great attitude at practice, and and had a good day out there at practice. So it's no surprise. I mean, he's not a young guy either. I mean, he's played snaps before, and he and EJ have obviously played a lot of snaps together at St. Francis. So he's a guy that's, he's been around the block a little bit, and it's no surprise at all to hear you say that. But it's certainly when the younger guys see an older guy handling that situation like that, I think it's great.
Shane, how are you handling what's got to be the immense amount of excitement and anticipation that you're going through this week? Or are there just so many things to do that you haven't even thought about?
No, I've thought about it. It's just trying to not be cliche, but just process and just stay on what's important right now. And certainly it wasn't like we got to Sunday and it was, oh crap, we're in game week, all these things I got to do. I mean, I've been thinking ahead and preparing and everything. I mean, there's just so many things that you, as the head coach, that you just kind of took for granted as an assistant. And it's when it's the first time, whether it's, what time the buses leave Friday to go to the hotel, what's our schedule at the hotel, what do we wear to the team dinner on Friday night at the hotel? What do we wear to meetings on Saturday morning? And what time do the meetings start? And I spent a lot of time pregame warm-up. What time do we come out and all that? There's just so many things that you think through. And I've been doing that long before this week. So thank God that, I was ahead from that standpoint. But still, when you get to game week, there's still always that, I got to do this, we got to do that, I forgot about that, what about this? And there's all kinds of different scenarios. And we've covered and gone over as much of it as we could with the players as well and the coaches, where we can get into this week and just focus on preparing to play on Saturday night. But for me, it's doing that, focusing on what I got to do right now. As soon as I walk out of here, it'll be finishing watching the practice tape, start getting ready for third down, which is what we practice tomorrow, and be up here late tonight working on that, and then back at it Wednesday morning, and then on we go. But certainly, I'd love to sit up here and give you Coach speak about how focused I am on the game, and I don't think about all that other stuff, but that's a bunch of crap. I mean, I'm fired up and excited and can't wait. And I talked to the team about it this morning. I mean, one of the things we talked about as a team was controlling your emotions, that Saturday is Saturday night is going to be a big deal for all of us, and there's going to be a lot of excitement and energy and all that stuff. And we got to make sure we don't go in there and we're just so emotional that we go in there and lose our minds and forget about what we have to do to prepare to play. And I told them, I said, I'm in the same boat. I mean, I'm going to be jacked up when we do Gamecock Walk and jacked up when we do when 2001 plays and all that stuff. But you also got to remember what's important and focusing on the task at hand as well.
Are Kevin Harris and Cam Smith going to be available?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Should have mentioned them also. Yeah, Cam was out there today. Kevin should be good, and Cam was out there today and practiced, looked fantastic. And credit Cam for his rehab and the way that he's handled everything. I mean, he's a guy that when he first got hurt, East Carolina was probably the most likely realistic for him to be back. I mean, there was a chance all along that he'd be back for the first game. I didn't lie to you guys, but it was best case scenario, and Cam's absolutely attacked his rehab to be able to go out there and Cam, I think Cam would love to play 70 plays Saturday night if he could. He was out there in practice today and looked great.
And tomorrow being September 1st and y'all being able to get back out on the road for the first time in forever and contacting juniors and all that, how excited are you guys for that, I guess, point in the recruiting phase?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously the first step was June 1st when they were able to come visit us, and now it's exciting to be able to get out and visit them. So couldn't be more excited about it, having recruits here on Saturday night. Some of our coaches will be out on Friday at some high school games on Friday night, and that's the next part of it. So love being able to get out and spread the message of Gamecock football and go watch some high school football games, and fired up to be able to start communicating with current juniors in high school. Excited to be able to get it back out on the road and visit their schools and watch some Friday night football in person. And I'm looking forward to being able to do that myself when time allows.
Shane, breaking down Zeb's skill set a little bit from your vantage point, Is he a pocket guy? Does he bring some mobility like Luke does? How much different will the offense be with him under center and operating it for you guys?
Yeah, he and Jason are probably more alike from a skill set standpoint than Luke. Luke's a little bit different. Not that Luke can't sit in the pocket and throw, but Luke's probably got not probably. Luke does have a little bit more athleticism if he breaks out of the pocket and being able to be a threat to run the football. But Zeb's not a statue back there either. Probably the biggest challenge for him was just getting in football shape and losing some weight once he became the quarterback, which he's tried to do also. So we haven't changed the offense. I mean, obviously Sat's going to cater to what Zeb and Jason are most comfortable with as they go into Saturday night. But it's not like we've changed anything. I would say more his skill set is more of your pure drop back passer that is athletic enough to run the football. He's not a bad athlete by any stretch of the imagination. Now I don't know if he's going to go out there, if he and Luke Doty go race, Luke's probably going to win every single time. But it doesn't mean that Zeb's a statue back there and can't move either. He's athletic enough to get himself out of trouble, and Jason has as well. I mean, Jason's really improved that aspect of his game and being able to get himself out of trouble in the pocket.
Running back's a position that's obviously going to roll a lot over the course of a game. But what goes into making that decision this week on who gets the first carries?
Good question. A lot of it is production since spring practice and preseason camp, and Coach Hardesty. He, like all of our guys on offense, I mean, he tracks everything and holds guys accountable for everything. So whether it be, good plays or not so good plays, it's kind of an inventory of everything that we've done in preseason camp. And, having said that, we'll see how practice goes this week. I mean, they're all going to play. Who takes the first carry? I don't know. We'll figure that out later this week. And a lot of it may be based on personnel as well. Whatever Sat decides the first play of the game is going to be on Saturday night. It may be something that we have a specific package for Juju, and Juju's on the field for that. Or maybe it's Marshawn, or maybe it's Kevin, or maybe it's Zaquandre. I don't know. Who knows? May not be any running backs out there. Maybe 3 running backs out there. We got a great group, so we'll just see what the first play holds.
Shane, I know on opening night, everyone has to have butterflies, and those butterflies are probably a little bit larger. If you've never been in an environment, an atmosphere like you'll have here on Saturday night, is that comforting to you, knowing that Zeb has seen some of that atmosphere while he was at Iowa State, and did that help give him a little bit of an edge when it came time to decide who was going to be the starter?
Yeah, sure. And yes, that wasn't really a deciding factor that we didn't think Jason could handle that. He certainly can. But certainly the fact that Zeb's been in big games before, he's played in the Big 12 at Oklahoma and Texas and in front of 80,000+ and whatnot at some of the stadiums you have in that league. So it's certainly a confidence, not builder, but gives you confidence as a coach that it won't be his first time in that environment. But, Jason is he didn't play in front of those size crowds at St. Francis, but I'll say this about Jason. I mean, he elevates his game when the stakes are the highest, in my opinion, whether it be the Garnet and Black game when he made some really nice plays out there in April, whether it be in practice when we go in the stadium and have scrimmages. I think the brighter the lights from what I've seen, the better that Jason plays. Now, obviously, he hasn't been in lights as bright as what it's going to be on Saturday night, but I don't have any worries about him going out there and playing well.
Hey, Shane, obviously, as we're hearing, you've had a lot of personnel decisions to make throughout fall camp. One area that was mostly settled was with your field goal unit between White and Kai Kroger and Matthew Bailey. How has their fall camp been, and what's your level of confidence as far as that unit in the game?
Yeah, really good. Those are guys you just kind of – I said it in the preseason or maybe even at SEC Media Days. My dad used to always say when you've got a good kicking game and those specialists return that you got to – that's one of the things that precedes a good football team. So having those guys back at punter and kicker and all those guys returning certainly is a security blanket for us. They've had really good preseasons. They've improved on last year. And I like the fact that Pete Limbo – I think I mentioned it before to you guys, but Pete Limbo doesn't coach – a position, or maybe it was on the radio show I mentioned it, I'm sorry, but he doesn't coach a position. So all he does is just work with those guys. So the position he coaches, it's not like a lot of places where the special teams coach is coaching the tight ends or the defensive backs or the running backs. He is the special teams coach, so he's a great resource for me during practice because he's another set of eyes that's a former head coach. But more importantly, he's able to get over there and work with those specialists from the time they step on the field until the practice is over. A lot of places I've been, the kickers, when they're not kicking, they're inside playing video games or they're in the indoor playing wiffle ball or whatever. Not with our crew. I mean, they're working, and you're just as likely to look over there and seeing our guys doing tackling drills as you are kicking footballs. So, that's an asset for us that we're able to do that.
Shayna, everything's been very good, kind of golden for you since you got hired 8 months ago. This Saturday, of course, social media being what it is, the first time there's a play somebody doesn't agree with, somebody's going to tweet about it. How do you handle that? Do you know what's coming? Is that part of your pregame preparation, knowing that this Saturday everything might start, or there might be some things that aren't so golden?
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like the honeymoon, and then here we go. So that's just part of it. I mean, I want to coach somewhere where you have passionate fans that are into it, and we certainly have unbelievably passionate fans here at Carolina that won't be afraid to voice their displeasure for decisions that we don't make, and that's just that's part of it. I'm not gonna run into the locker room and all of a sudden jump on Twitter and look at my mentions. I can assure you that after the game, maybe after a win, but certainly not after a loss or where we don't play well. But no, I mean it's part of it. Love a passionate fan base, and we have it. But I grew up in the grew up the son of a football coach, and grew up that way. And probably the biggest thing for me is with my children is they've had it pretty good here for the last 4 years. And not that it's not going to be here at South Carolina, but I mean all my kids know is the Orange Bowl, the Rose Bowl, the where we go last, or Peach Bowl at Oklahoma, and then we won the Big 12 last year, and I wasn't there for the Cotton Bowl, so that's pretty much all they remember, especially my youngest. So it'll be making them understand that you've had it pretty good the last 4 years, where you've won 10 or 11 games or 12 or more, and I hope we do this year as well. But just preparing my children for how good they've had it the last few years as well, which we're going to have it here at some point soon too, and hopefully this year.
Shane, from a Luke standpoint, just what's the realistic timeline of when he might be able to actually put on some pads and practice with you guys?
I would hope, if not this week, certainly next week. We'll see how it goes. He's in tennis shoes. He's not in the boot anymore. He's not on the scooter. He's not in an air cast. I mean, he was out at practice following the quarterbacks around and was in tennis shoes today. So I think he'll continue to progress. It's only Tuesday. We'll see what happens Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Hopefully he comes along. But I think it's very realistic that as we go into next week that he'd be getting really, really close to 100%.
And Jalen Dickerson and Jakari both ended up on the 2 deep. Just what have you seen from them and the progress they've made to have them earn that spot?
Jalen and who? I'm sorry.
Jakari Caldwell.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking defense. Just making plays. Jalen Dickerson, older guy that certainly motivated and didn't get to go through spring practice, but certainly came on at the end of spring practice, got to go the last couple days, I think, in practice, and just he's a leader and guy that somebody on the team respects. I know there were a couple issues this summer, and I was talking to a couple of the defensive backs about their thoughts on some things, and they were like, well, let's go talk to Jalen. He's the guy that we go to when there's questions like that. And him and Jalen Foster have both been fantastic back there from a leadership standpoint. And then Jakari, he and Ortre are working over there together as well with Josh Van and still trying to figure out what that rotation is going to be. But Jakari is a big body that we have size at the wide receiver position, and he's done a nice job of using his size to his advantage. And all those guys are continuing to compete. I mean, we feel pretty confident saying that Joyner and Van and Brooks, if there's a top three, would be your top three right now. That's why they're listed as the starter. And then after that, all those guys are continuing to compete and come along. And a lot of it will be based on the play that we have called and the personnel we want in the game. And a lot of it will be situational as well, depending on where we are on the field.
So just with Zeb Nolan, coming back in and everything, whenever Luke Doty is healthy and 100% again, how much competition will there be between them? Is there a
Like
chance
I told
that,
David, we're worried
Yes.
about Eastern Illinois this week, and then no, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. We're trying to beat Eastern Illinois, and then we'll get Luke healthy, and then we'll figure about all that after that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shane, you mentioned being able to have a guy like Pete Limbaugh on the sideline and how much of an asset that can be since he has that head coaching experience. Outside of Pete, and I guess you can include Pete in there as well, what will it look like on Saturday in terms of the coaches that will be up in the box and who'll be down on the field?
Yeah, Torian Gray will be in the box. Mark Satterfield will be on the box, and Kimry, I think, is what we have going in the box. So those three guys will be up there. Now, obviously, that's as we stand today. Things may change as we get closer to game time and figuring out the way that we want to, utilize certain or where we want to position people, because a lot of that is dependent on the, not everybody in the program is allowed to have a headset on in the press box or on the field. Certain guys aren't allowed to have a microphone where they can talk. So you have to, you really have to, that's another head coach thing you got to think about. You got to be strategic and who's where and who can do what, because not every single person that's on the coaching staff, graduate assistant, analyst, student assistant, can have headphones on, and some of them can't have microphones on, so it's kind of working through that. But that's the plan as far as the 10 on-field coaches are right now. And again, if we get closer to Saturday and feel like we need to do something different, we can. I mean, I've been places where I was at Georgia one year, and one of the coaches that started in the press box finished the game on the field just because there were issues that were going on during the game, and he felt like he needed to get down there and get it right. So I don't think we're going to have any of that, but we can always adjust as we get closer to kickoff. Good. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful week.